guys. Welcome to the Dom and Nate Show. I'm Dom. Nate's not with us today, but we have a special guest here. Please introduce yourself, sir.
My name is Clark. I'm actually one of your clients, and we've gone head to head, huh? Essentially, you've put somebody up against me on the chopping block on the competition at the Powerhouse Classic.
Yeah, what, 2 years ago, right?
Yep, 2018 September.
Yeah, you and Donnie.
Which is crazy. Yep, Donnie. Which was crazy because that was my first time competing. So as soon as I saw him take his shirt off, I was like, fuck. I'm like, oh shit, what do I got to do to beat that? You know? Because I was sitting backstage by myself with Josh, my posing coach, and he was my coach, right? So I just need somebody to talk to. So he was back there. I was eating rice cakes with honey and salt, and that was my peak. That was what I tried to do it with. So.
But you won. You won the overall.
Yep. Luckily, from
in class.
It was
B.
Yeah, 5'9". So
yeah.
Or I'm like just over 5'9". So, but I was allowed to be up to 197, and I hit the stage at 176.
Yeah. So Donnie, we have to not eat because he's so close to weight.
Right. He's a monster, bro. He was every bit of 197, wasn't he? If not more when he finally hit stage, yeah.
Yeah, the classic is always tough for him to make a weight cap because he's so big.
Right. I mean, that's definitely part of it, and that's always cracked me up, right? Because in true classic, there was above 200 and under 200, right?
Yeah.
When with the era that we're trying to emulate. Right. So the fact that there's a weight cap and a height cap type shit is kind of silly to me, because if Franco was over 200, he's short as shit, but he'd be over the 200, right? He'd be competing against Arnold.
Yeah.
So it is funny. It's funny how they came up with it and decided to call it classic when it doesn't seem like it's going any other way other than bodybuilding.
I think they did that because it would have been way too similar to bodybuilding if they didn't.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. But
caps. The height cap is what made it I feel like they took the bodybuilding part from bodybuilding. They took the physique part with the heights from men's physique, and they just smashed it together. It made it different.
Yeah. And I mean, it still kind of is dope because they end up doing an overall anyway. So you're going to find out, right?
Yeah.
But it's not like that in pro, is it?
No, the pro, I don't think height. So height only matters for your weight in the pros.
Okay.
So you still have to make your weight for what height you are, but obviously everybody's a different height. You have Steve Lorius, and then you have Santi Aragon.
Right. There's only one true classic division. They cap each other at their height.
Yeah, so whatever the height is, they have to meet the weight for that height.
Which sucks for Keon, right? Yeah, Keon was he's 5'2"? He's something crazy short.
He's going to 212 now.
Yeah, him, George DePaul. Who else is going? Or were those the only two from Classic that were really making?
I'm sure there's others going, but I know for a fact those two are. Because Keon, I think, had problems making weight too. I know George really has to push himself to make weight.
Yeah, he's one of those that's almost like Flex Lewis, right? He almost has to lose muscle to make it. Flex Lewis, that's why he's going to open. They're tired of losing muscle. They get him down to 212, so they're like, let's see what he can do in the open.
Yeah, Flex is another story, dude.
Is he competing this year?
I don't know. I think they invited him to the Olympia to do the Open.
Right.
Everything that happened, I don't know. But I know he has a private gym down there.
Right. Yeah, so he's not losing anything.
So he's not. I'm sure he's still training all.
Yeah, I see you're a Redcon 1 guy now. So
Matt?
have you gone down yet? Well, you, right? You're doing
Redcon 1 guy.
Yeah, well, you got a couple Redcon guys now. You got me, you got Matt, you got two Matts.
Yeah, I got Matt Sino.
Yeah.
You know, he's like,
Yeah.
he like is one of the heads of that tier operator thing.
Yeah.
He's
If
like,
not the head. Yeah.
um,
When
he,
I got into it, he wasn't even that. He was still just a really active dude on there and always helping everybody out.
so he was with me. He still is with me, but he was with me when he signed up with me. He was doing that. He hadn't even moved there yet. So,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
he got
Well,
hired up
that was pretty new, wasn't it? Him moving there.
Yeah, I mean, he probably hasn't even been there a year because he lives in Boca
Right.
and he works at headquarters now. And dude, he's unbelievable. He does all of the stuff for this, all the podcast
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
all our thumbnails, all those things he makes. He made the logo.
Dude, fuck yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of the main things he does for Redcon. Like those sales things that they send in emails to like posts, he makes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. He's been doing it too. I remember he would he was, like I said, he was always vocal on like the Facebook page and stuff.
Yeah.
And like he's who I would he probably like was so annoyed with me because I would message him to figure out what the fuck was going on. Because that Facebook group like doesn't follow the like chronological algorithm at all, you know. So you see these posts and these posts and these posts, and then I would message him on Instagram and be like, yo, what's going on? You know, and like he would just tell me. So but yeah, I mean
he came to me and was like, dude, he's like, can you just get on board? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I like MRE Light. That's one thing I love by them. And then
I love it.
like, yeah, whatever. I mean, it's affordable. They always have sales. In my opinion, it gets the job done.
Right.
So why not offer that to everybody? And it's a lot. So the thing I always ran into trouble with was people actually getting the supplements I wanted them to get because it was expensive. Now, being with Redcon, it makes it a little bit more affordable for them. So I've noticed when I made the switch to Redcon, people buy the supplements and people will use the supplements. Like people would tell me like, oh, I don't want to buy whey protein. It's too expensive. Like, but like, you know, Redcon does a deal. It's, you know, buy one, get one. Yeah. Like just all those kind of things. I see that they buy it a lot. They buy it a lot.
Yeah, no, they're kings of marketing.
Yeah.
They're killing the marketing game. They sponsor some big names in all different areas of life, you know, not just bodybuilding and stuff. And that's crazy, right? Because you've been in this for a while now, right? Like how long have you been in this? Like just the whole like fitness shit.
Oh God, 10, 12 years now.
Right, yeah. So like you know, think about that. That tier operator program, everybody getting a piece of being like a Redcon 1 operator. Like that was a dream when we first started, right? Like MetRx or whatever, right? You know, like
God.
thinking about part
BSN.
of that team, BSN. Yeah, hell yeah, right? Like I remember going to the Arnold's first time in 2012, and when I went, man, it was so surreal because I didn't know how tall these guys were. I never knew that. They look so fucking big when you see them on stage and by themselves, right? And then here comes Kai Green, and I'm like, wait a minute, he's all of 5'6", 5'7", 300 pounds. When he would walk around with the no bull stuff, or what? No, it wasn't no bull. It was they had a carnivore protein. Funny enough,
oh
it was,
yeah. I forgot what it was called.
Yeah, man.
Though.
But it was all red and black. Remember, and he would wear that red jumpsuit everywhere, and just coming through, people making waves, and I'm like, holy shit, dude! Like, I didn't know that. Jay Cutler's 5'6", right? Like 5'7".
They're all very short.
They're very short, which is part of that illusion.
I met Guy Cisternino. He was super short, but dude, they're built like a fucking brick house.
Oh yeah, there's not an ounce of fat and too much muscle for their structure almost, right? They're riding that line, and that's like what bodybuilding kind of seems like nowadays, doesn't it? Like obviously pushing for that limit, but now we got guys that are like, you know, topping out that shit. Like it's past the, you know, Big Randy. It's almost past the aesthetics and stuff. It's Rolly, right? They are freaks, and it's like, and everything good about being a freak of this sport, but you know, where is it going?
We had a few years where we were dealing with like the distended guts, the stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
But I think
Louis Marco.
I think it's backtracking a lot. Like you don't see as many bubble guts on stage anymore.
I think there's people still going for the shit, but they're getting penalized for it, right? Like Big Ramy didn't place that well, but he still wanted to be the biggest, right? But like, who placed better? People with, you know, the controlled gut.
Who won Arnold
The
this
more.
year? I forgot.
Honestly, I didn't give a shit. I was watching Classic. I was watching Classic. The homie Rough Diesel.
Yeah.
Man, he put on a show.
Oh, Bonac.
And, oh yeah. Oh man, you want to talk about a lot of muscle in a little package?
Yeah, that's
that dude. Yeah, that dude.
Bonac looks. Bonac always looks great.
Yeah, yeah, he definitely does. He looks like an action figure. Like he looks like when you were a kid and you could move their legs from just their joints, right? That's what it seems like when he moves. I don't know why. It's something about his hips and like where the glutes, like, you know, they go in because he's so lean. That I remember seeing him from the side and just thinking like, that's a fucking action figure.
Dude, he has a great quarter turn. For some reason, I love quarter turns. They're like one of my.
You know what to look for. Yeah, that's really
poses.
Yeah, that's really what you know. What I remember. Forget who said it, but he's like, they're making their judgment off of your relaxed poses. Like as soon as they make you through those first four, they've already got it in their head who they want to see against each other, because it's almost like that's the prerequisite, right? If you don't pass that, we don't need to see your front double by, you know, because we don't need to see it past this because you couldn't even hit that pose, right? And I think a lot of people, that escapes a lot of people, right? They kind of see them as relaxed poses and they think about it like that. It's a relaxed pose, right? I know I need like help with mine, but that's something that I worked on before that show. Man, we were in the basement every weekend, calling out poses and holding them for 30 to 45 seconds, right? Like a statue too. Like it couldn't move anywhere, and like the only thing you could do was reset, right? But we would hold it for 45 seconds and just try to breathe and control the breathing.
Yeah.
And then I got on stage and they tell you to hit it for all of 5 to 6 seconds, and I'm like, yo, what? So
you practice.
I'll tell you, yeah, man. I'll tell you what. That was definitely a huge thing for me, because I saw a video where a girl was doing her posing routine, right? And she tripped because she was wearing heels, and she tripped, but she got right back in it, you know, like, and it wasn't necessarily like she might have missed a part or two, right? But she got right into where she was supposed to be with her music or her performance. And I remember thinking, holy shit, right? Like I have public anxiety like that, like public speaking type thing. So here I am in my skivvies and naked in front of a bunch of people, right? And I gotta do a performance. So we practiced that so many times. You could have called out one of the poses from where I did it in the middle of it, and I could have finished it, or I could have walked it back. You know what I mean? Like I still to this day can run through it in my head.
Dude, that's what a lot of people don't practice. And you see it a lot.
You see it a lot, and you know, to not to take away from them, right? Because it's not really judged that much. Like I know it is in some sense of it, right? They want who the fans want to win too, in a sense, right? Because it's a sport of public opinion. It's a popularity contest, a beauty contest, right?
Yeah.
So you have to perform still well enough, but you know, at the end of the day, it's still bodybuilding, these poses versus these poses.
So I think like when it comes to the entertainment factor, like your routine at the night show, on a local level, I think it might have a play in if you're in the overall. Like they're gonna put you through that stuff, but they won't remember your routine. Even though the routine's not a truly judged portion, it's literally entertainment. That's all it is. But take that to the national stage. And I've been at shows now. National stages are ran a little bit differently than local shows, and you know, as classic physique guys, you get like 15 seconds when you get out there, and you have to show your strongest poses. Well, some guys try to routine that, and it's almost like it's too fluid, too much flow to it, that you're not giving the judges a good chance to see concrete poses.
Right. I see what you mean. Which is crazy, right? Because like it, in classic, at least to me, right? Because they used to. I mean, Arnold and Franco did fucking ballet to make sure that their poses were crisp and make sure that they could offer something new and new twists and turns, right?
Yeah.
And it's almost like there's so many people now that want to do this and that, you know, do belong on that stage that couldn't possibly have everybody do a minute show or a minute routine and then have to take that into account too, right? Because there's how many call outs are there now? There's like 5 call outs, so that's like 20 competitors, right? So, you know,
Dude, some national shows are like, I've been there with like 6 call outs, 7 call outs.
Oh shit.
Yeah. They get really big. Now, national shows, they'll do more than 5 people. They'll do like 8 people in the first call out.
Okay.
Like, depending. I've been to national shows where they do 5. I've seen like 8. I've seen a bunch of different ones. But dude, I've seen it to where there's like rows of competitors like on the side waiting for the call out. And it's like you get like, I feel bad for the guys that are like in the last row behind everybody. You can't even see their head. But that's how important that first 10 seconds got. That number, they see you, boom, they jot your number down if they're going to call you out.
Right.
But that's why, like, I've seen guys, like, dance up there, make it, like, too flowy. And it's too fast that, like, they can't even get a look at you. Like, I had a guy do North Americans, and he came out. I told him, look, I said, hit your strongest poses, hold them for a second, and move. Like, don't try to dance up there. Just flex your best, turn. Flex your best, turn. Flex your best, turn. And whatever. And I mean, he ended up in the first call out. So,
did you tell him to do any classic poses, or did you tell him to just kind of stick with the mandatories?
well, he was doing all mandatories because he was just strong at them. Like his ab and thigh was just a great shot. His side tri was an awesome shot. I think side tricep should be a mandatory pose.
Classic.
Yeah.
I think so too. I mean, it shows off the waist, it shows off the quad, you know, the tricep. Like, why wouldn't it? Big arms were a huge thing in the classic era.
It was a really popular body part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's what drove a lot of people to wanting to do it, right? I remember my first weight set, all I did was fucking curl. You know, I didn't know any other exercise.
Big arms is what everybody in the gym wants when they first get into it.
100%. Arm day every day. I've never heard of a leg day every day. I've never heard of a chest day every day, but I've heard of arm day every day from a lot of people.
Yeah, man.
A lot of people.
Yeah, well, now we can. Our stay-at-home is lifted.
Yeah. How many days is it next week? She's talking about it because what? It's June 3rd.
No, the stay-at-home is done now.
So like gyms can open today?
No, gyms are still. She said gyms and salons still can't open.
Yeah, I saw your post about that too. She
goes, she's smirking, laughing. She goes, Google how to do a haircut. Like that's so insulting.
Oh man,
not even a hairdresser.
Yeah, that's just so disconnected from the people. Like unbelievable disconnection, right?
You know somebody's coming. They're doing your hair right before you get on.
Every time. I've never seen a hair out of place whenever she's on camera, right?
Yeah, I feel
crazy.
Bad. I have clients that are like, I have one client that's a salon owner, and like I feel so bad because she like got a salon, redid it. It looks unbelievable, and she had it open for like a month, and then it got closed down because of this. And I think we're the only state that doesn't have salons open, or like there's 2 states or something like that.
It was either we're the only state with 2 things still closed, like gyms and salons, or we're one of 2 states that only has salons closed still, and that's so fucking nuts.
dude, okay, think about things right now. Let's get logical, right? You're allowed to do outdoor fitness activities, right? So group training is okay if it's outdoors. Why is group training okay if I'm using this slam ball and you come up right after me and use the same slam ball? That somebody by themselves cannot work out in the gym right now. By themselves.
Right. And I mean, it's so crazy, right? Because why is she taking such a hardcore stance? Are we forgetting that Biden mentioned her for a VP candidation, right? And now she's kind of strong arming Trump, who would be her opponent. I mean, how deep does one person's agenda go? That's what a lot of people forget, right? She's one person. She's one person. You could stop this right now. You could edit it however you want to make me sound one way, right? And promote your shit because you're one fucking person. Who's overseeing her actions? Who's calling? Who's like, hey, I don't know about that, right?
Yeah.
And supposedly she's listening to scientists and this, that, and the other. And I can only hope that, right? But I can only hope that. I don't know that because she's one person,
There's
right? And
one
that's
person
what.
by herself. She ain't even listening to legislation. She completely superseded them and said, "I'm done with you guys," kind of thing. Like I'm gonna make my decisions by myself.
That's so scary. It's so scary with all the shit that's going on right now. And like, it doesn't feel like America,
Oh,
does it? It
oh,
is
it feels
fucking
like World War Z is out there.
yeah. How about that though? I did see that MSNBC got called out.
Yeah,
Yeah, for using a clip.
took the still from the trailer and put it on national TV to make it look like Philadelphia was burning.
Right, and one person, had to consciously make that decision that they were going to pass that along, right? And then I don't know how it came out or what happened, but let's say two anchors were up there and they're not doing it, right? I'm relying on you to give me the shit to say, and now I got to say that and tarnish my shit because you're reporting the shit, right? And like now this we're all so dependent on each other that it doesn't make sense that we don't work together. That's the one that freaks me the fuck out, right? Because the worst thing they can do to you in the worst place in the world, prison, is put you by yourself, right? Solitary confinement. And then how much did suicide go up during this quarantine? It was like
It's
ridiculous,
crazy.
right?
Yeah, it's like a crazy
rate. Right. So how the fuck are we not trying to get everything open as quickly as possible? And now, given at the time that this is taking place, funny enough, everything is opening up except with the exceptions of salons and gyms, right? But it didn't seem like that was part of the move. It seems like we're sheltering you. That's the only move. We're keeping you safe by staying inside, and that's the only move. It's like, okay, but what about, we'll figure it out. We might need a vaccine though before anything, right? I saw they're talking about no concerts until 2022 when this first started. Like, what are you talking about, man? Music saves people. Those concerts are some of those best people or the best days of their lives, right?
I think it's just I feel like they don't care. Like
exactly, they're disconnected just because she doesn't want to go to a concert
from society because they are our government. So government's sole purpose is to protect people's rights. That's what government was founded on.
Right.
Protect
especially
people,
ours.
To protect people if their rights are being infringed upon.
Right.
But our rights are being infringed upon by them.
And the checks and balance system seems to be a joke lately, right? Because we have a House run this and a Democratic run this and a Republican run this. So it goes to this, and because it's against Republicans, it gets passed because it's Democrats, and then it comes here and it gets stopped because it's Republicans on Republicans.
Yeah.
It's like nobody takes this shit serious anymore. It's just a team game. It's a tribal game.
Like, they'll be like, oh, this judge is a Democratic judge, so that's why it got passed. This judge is a Republican judge. Like, but if you're a judge, why does that matter?
Why does that matter at all? You're a judge.
You're a judge. You're one of our branches of government where you're supposed to be making sure these other two branches are not overstepping their boundaries.
longer align with any political party when you're in charge of other people's like rights like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because again, that's an agenda thing, and people passing on their agendas, scary shit, right? In the land of the free, it's scary to think that there could be an agenda type thing, and you know, to kind of try to bring it back to the gym before we go too fucking deep into government, right? That's always fun, but it's like powerlifters versus bodybuilders, right? It's like a team game. It's like no matter what, is somebody's gonna have something wrong with this versus this, right? And lately, I've seen that dissipate in the gym, which is totally dope because I always look up to powerlifters because I don't lift heavy. It's just not my game. Like I don't necessarily go for that all the time. So when I do see somebody like JJ or Hussam lift 800 fucking pounds, I'm like, oh yeah, that's so sick, right? And like that pushes me to get a set of 10 with something else, right? But it's funny how that, especially starting out, like, you know, we said we've been in there for 10 years. You were one or the other. It was a team game. It's
yeah, you didn't mix both worlds, not for a while.
And you were silly if you tried.
Yeah.
You know, you were, and I mean, technically that's something that I did starting out. My whole philosophy, right? Because like I'm bro science, unfortunately. I until getting with you really was my only venture in like how can I science this, right? I'm more so like, you know, there's a reason to it, but it doesn't necessarily come from a science. It made sense to me, and therefore I would follow it, right? So I would start with everything heavy, and I would do like 2 to 3 sets of that heavy, and then 2 back off sets. Because my theory behind it was if I can hold 225 for 5, right, then 135 for 15 is going to feel like a piece of cake because I was just holding 225. So now you take 90 pounds off of that, and I can definitely rep that out more times, right? But I always thought that might translate into fast twitch muscle fibers, right? The 1 to 5 rep range that we were told a long time ago. And then you up the rep range for the slow muscle fibers or for volume and pumping.
Yeah. So, like issues like with that, like each muscle has different fiber makeups. Like a female to male is even different. Overall, type 1 or type 2X fibers, they're all different in every muscle. So that's why, like, there's guys I know that train specifically like that. Like for a muscle that's more type 2 dominant, they'll do more type 2 fast twitch, like stuff like that.
What would be a more type 2 dominant muscle?
I believe your quads are.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I believe.
So type 2 is fast twitch?
Yeah, so here, I'll be Jamie real quick, like on Rogan.
Yeah, Rogan. Here, I'll be Rogan real quick and light up this blunt.
That motherfucker has made $100 million, dude.
Yeah, just a little bit of money.
Yeah, so fast twitch fibers are your type 2 fibers. Type 1 fibers are your slow twitch fibers. So like we'll just fiber makeup of quadriceps. So like, okay, so actually no, I'm sorry. So your vastus lataris, so like the outside of your quad, is exactly is almost a 50-50. So like your legs are more of like they could take both kinds of training. You know, they can take your more like heavy reps, your like volume work, or your other kind of work.
Have you ever heard of Dr. Andy Gallatin?
No.
He has a Rogan episode, and he does muscle biopsies. He claimed now, and I don't know if he was being facetious or whatever, but he's claimed he's done more than anybody in the world ever, right? So like he's the muscle biopsy guy, and he's very, very science-based, very smart, and his whole thing is purpose, right? But he talks about how they now have the technology to test if you can hybrid a fiber, right? Make a type 1 to a type 2, or make a type 2 to a type A type 2A, type 2B, right? And he was saying that it used to not be perceived as you could do that because they didn't have the technology to test that. But now that they do, you can train and get more fibers to cross over to that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty nuts, and you would get a kick out of his Rogan episode. Dude.
So like a big thing with like these fibers is the how much mitochondria are in them. So like that's why like type 1 fibers, I'm pretty sure they're more mitochondrial dense than type 2, meaning that's why like slow twitch fibers are more so like they're more so like your I think it's your anaerobic muscle tissue. I don't know. I gotta look at it again. But a lot of it has to do with training, like aerobic training versus anaerobic training. So resistance training versus like running. The more you run and the more you do those kinds of things, you build up more mitochondria inside of these muscle cells. So they're more efficient at making like ATP and stuff. And there's more, you're getting more output from the tissue, which is cool. That was one thing we learned in school that was pretty interesting. And I just feel like, I feel like sometimes there might be a lot of emphasis on this or not enough emphasis on this.
Right. Yeah, the nuance, right? That's where you either, a lot of people make their money now on the nuance of things, but also it's like, who is that for? Right? I think a lot of people get lost in the weeds when they're starting, right? When they're starting out and they're talking about, should I do bands wrapped around my squats? Should I wrap a band to the top of the squat rack and wrap it to the bar and do incline press on the stocks? And it's like, honestly, no, you shouldn't. You should just go in the fucking gym, put some weight on that incline bar, and you should try the basics first. Because I think a lot of people don't see results the way they want to, and then they go to that. They start reaching, right? Oh, it's because I'm not using the bands. If I were to just use those bands, maybe I can activate more muscle fibers, right? And I feel like that has a time and a place too, right? Because you never told me to do any banded workouts until this shit, right? But
like actual band workout.
No. Just band resisted, added resistance, right? Like I call them Instagram workouts. You're the cool ones that you want to film because we're doing something extra today, right? Because you got to keep it spiced up. You can't just post squat videos every Wednesday. Why would you do that? People are gonna hate that. They don't want to know that you
hack squat.
Yeah, they don't want to know that you squat every Wednesday and that's why your legs are big. They want to see that Bosu ball, weighted ball over your head twist shit, and they think that's what's doing it because they're not doing that, right?
Yeah.
And that's the nuance of things. That's where people start looking into shit too much. I tell most people that want to work out with me, right? They're like, we should get a lift in. And like, I'm always like, okay, for sure. But I lift at fucking 7 in the morning. I'm not extending that to anybody. I don't want you to come in at 7 in the morning if you got shit going on. Like, I'd feel like a dick, right? So I get one day off on Saturdays normally, and that's already reserved for Hussam. So it's like, if I get a day off during the week and I'm not doing shit and we run into each other at the gym, then so be it. And we can lift together for sure. But like, I just don't have the time right now, right? And then I always follow it up with, you're probably going to be disappointed anyway. Like, I don't know what you think we're going to do differently or what secrets you think I hold.
So different together.
Right.
Unless they don't train. Unless they really don't train well, they're gonna see the difference. Like guys lift with me and I'm you've learned it from me. Like I'm a super like balls to the walls, 2 sets, I'm done. Like move on. And like I'd be like, all right, 2 sets, and people look at me like, what? What do you mean 2 sets? And I was like, look, bro, if you could do 2 true sets, that's all you need.
That's all you need. And and that was something that I needed to
like
swallow.
We focus on logbook stuff for you.
What's that?
We really focus on logbook stuff for you.
Yeah, because I needed that.
Yeah.
I've never done that style before. I've like, I, even right now, right? Because, you know, I'm kind of getting back into it. This whole COVID thing took me for a whirl, and I try to focus on other aspects of life and get those kind of focused out. Because like we were talking about before, I love this. This would be easy for me to get back on track with this, right? So I kind of put this on the back burner and focus on some other shit. But now that I'm getting this back into my routine, you know, I'm kind of going back to just the older shit that I used to do and just getting in, working out, almost exercising, right? Not even really bodybuilding or nothing. I'm just fucking exercising. And it's helped me feel good. But I've started to program my days again. Like today, I didn't go. Today's rest day because I'm back on what you had me on, the push pull. I'm going to take a rest day, legs, push pull, right? So, and then another rest day. So I'm even starting to program it again accordingly. And then my next step will be to reintroduce that balls to the walls for fucking 2 sets, and that's it, right? Because right now I'll go balls to the walls for 2 sets, and then I'm like, let me get a little bit more of that, you know? And like, and then I think about it too, like how you told me, like if you're not, or if you can, did you really go balls to the walls for those 2 sets, right? Because
Yeah.
essentially, if I put a gun to your head and I say you only have 2 fucking sets, those are gonna be the 2 best sets of your life, right? But without that gun to your head, you can kind of take it off. You can
I feel like I run into that a lot. Like a lot of guys don't have that gun to the head mentality when they're training. I don't know what it is. It could just be like age. Maybe they're just not old enough to realize. Because I do see it a lot with my younger guys. You know, I've had some 18-year-olds just sign up with me recently. And like when I told them to train 5 days a week, they were like, "What?" And I was like, "Motherfucker, if you can train 7 days a week, something is wrong."
right. Yeah, and you know what's funny is like I would train 7 days a week for the longest time, and I can tell you my favorite split, right, to do it. But I was always hurting. I was always sore. My lower back was always on fire. My quads were always tight. My hamstrings were always tight, right? And like I'm like, man, I always thought it, you know, it just is what it is, right? It's because I work out. And then I started taking 2 days off. I started, you know, changing up my splits a little bit. I'm like, oh, you're not supposed to feel like that. For sure. You're not supposed to be 28 and holding your breath while putting your socks on. Okay, that's right.
Or running out of breath walking up the stairs.
Man, and it wouldn't even be running out of breath. It would be like just like effort from like my tight hips and my tight quads, and I'm just like, man, I don't think this is how it's supposed to be. You know, I don't think how it's supposed to be. I even thought about starting to run during this. Thank God I didn't, but I thought about it. I got asthma though, in which is hilarious that I smoke, but I really do, and sports-induced asthma. So like running's never been something that I've even thought of, right? So the aspect of wanting to do something outside of my comfort zone to kind of put me back into that mentality is where I started thinking about it.
You have an inhaler?
Still, what's that?
You use an inhaler?
Yeah. Not often. Not often. No, it doesn't really spark up like that. That's why bodybuilding's so good for me, because my effort is 10 seconds, right? It's all out set. I'm doing it maybe 30 seconds, right? But I can breathe after that. You know, like a crazy set of squats that brings me to failure and I got to dump the bar. I'll catch my breath. You know, but like playing hockey growing up, you know, I wasn't good. I fucking, after like 30 seconds on the ice of a full out sprint, I'm like, coach, like, changing up. And then, not to mention, I was the fatty growing up. So that one's always funny to people when they find that out, because they don't realize that I get the, you know, it's his genetics, it's his metabolism a lot. And then I pull out my phone and I show him, like, yeah, tell that to this guy. All right, this guy used to wish he had a fast metabolism. Used to wish this, that, and the other, right? And it's funny because I wholeheartedly blame the vegetarian diet.
Dude, I'm literally about to ask you, were you vegetarian?
Yeah. Born and raised for 16 years.
And now tell people what your diet is.
I eat, what is it, 280 grams of steak 4 times a day.
It's cooked. So, That's cooked steak.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So yeah, it's like a true 10 ounces of steak for every meal, and I feel so fucking good. Like the best I've ever felt, without a doubt, was on the carnivore diet. I heard you kind of dabble on that the last one, and I didn't do it like I didn't when I first started. I started after watching Sean Baker, Dr. Sean Baker. He had that Rogan episode, and I mean, he's an animal. I don't know if you follow him on Instagram. That motherfucker is an animal. But if we're talking like a spectrum, right? You got vegans on this side and you got carnivores on this side. They're fucking one and the same. He is just as crazy of an activist as any vegan person is, right? And then if you really go deeper, right, BioLane tore it up because Lane Norton talking about the spectrum thing, right? They're both exclusion diets. It's like no wonder you start feeling better. You start excluding processed bullshit from your diet. Like you're narrowing it down to vegetables and this, that, and the other, right? Whatever makes up the vegan palate, and then you're limiting it to red meat. You've just cut so much out of your diet. They're one and the fucking same, and they almost experience the same benefit, right?
And they hate each other.
Fucking hate each other.
What is that? Is that because now when we talk about vegans and carnivores as extremists, let's talk about them. They're vegan if you're into the vegan ideology versus just being a vegan. Like, I know vegans that are normal people. They don't
normal
push
people.
their agenda on you.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I don't like meat sits with me. I don't eat meat. Okay,
we can totally separate those.
Yeah,
people. They're two different people.
Yeah.
Even the carnivore extremists, right? The people that now eat raw meat too, like, fuck out of here. We're not talking about you right now. Okay, we're talking about just people that.
With the vegans, one thing I noticed was, especially with Game Changers, and that whole spark that Game Changers had with all these researchers coming out, all these nutritionists, all these PhDs talking about it. One thing that I saw a big consensus on was vegans are just generally healthier people. They don't drink, they don't smoke, they've been exercising this entire time. They're just generally more healthier lifestyle people, regardless of their diet. They don't.
The healthy user bias.
What is that?
So when they do what is the study of studies? I don't know the word, and I'm gonna embarrass myself.
The study of studies?
Yeah, isn't it like epidemiology, right? Isn't that where they get these from? It's like the consensus of like they fill out these fucking forms at the doctor, and then that's where they're getting this information from.
Oh yeah, I get what you. Yeah. Like
you know what I mean? So that's where they're getting that number from. Is they're genuinely healthier people, right? So they factored in, and it's funny because another Rogan episode, of course, is Chris Kresher versus this vegan doctor, right? And they have you seen that one?
He's not a doctor; he's a UFC fighter.
No. That guy tore Chris Kresher up, and I heard, I didn't.
Another one?
There was one prior to that. Yeah, okay. One prior to that where Chris was able to speak and give off his point because he wasn't necessarily against the vegan diet. He was just combating that argument that they are healthier because he explained something called the healthy user bias as well as an unhealthy user bias, right? The person that barbecues on Sunday and is like, fuck it, since we're barbecuing and eating greasy meat anyway, let's have beers and smoke cigarettes today, is the same kind of bias as the person that shops at Whole Foods and they spend that extra money to get the extra healthy shit. So their life is more full of healthier choices in general.
Yeah,
that's why, not that's why, but that's a huge reason that those numbers were like that.
So,
and they said when they asked their vegan friends they asked vegan people to ask their meat eater friends questions like that, right? And just because they were associated with them, they thought that they might so be healthy as well. And they were right. When they asked that question, there was no life expectancy change. So when you get these healthy meat eaters that still follow the healthy user bias, the numbers tend to make the same.
Yeah.
So that whole thing was done on just like
Dude, that thing was like hot for a minute. People were sending me it every single day.
Oh man,
messages and emails saying, I want to try a vegetarian diet. I want to try a vegan diet. I literally was telling people, I'm not the guy for that. Like, if that's what you want to experience, like,
yep. Oh man,
but
and
like,
that's so crazy.
I do work with, I probably have like 5 or 6 vegans right now, and like, they they came to me because they didn't know how to set up a vegan diet. So like, they were like, I don't eat meat, but I know I'm not eating everything right. I know I'm not having enough of this. I know I'm not having enough of that. Can you set this up for me and just, coach me? And I said, yeah, of course. I don't, in my master's thesis, there was a section I did on athletes that were vegetarian and athletes that weren't. They're almost the exact same. And the only thing they came to like a conclusion about was that a vegetarian athlete needs to increase their recommended protein intake by a little bit more than what a meat eating athlete does. But then, like, for a lot of these people, I always ran into the issue that they feel full. They feel like, because dude, you have like 2 options as a vegetarian. It's carbs and fat, like direct sources of carbs and fat, especially ones that don't eat processed stuff like tempeh or seitan or tofu. Like, a lot of people that I work with don't even eat that stuff. And then they're eating all these lentils, edamame, like things like that. They're like, dude, I'm so full. I'm like, yeah, because you're eating like 60 grams of fiber. Like, because we have to get you at least to a recommended protein intake. Like, if you're training this hard.
And that's the thing, why I abandon all diets. Like, I don't say I do the carnivore anymore. I don't say I do keto, right? Because all of them can be done. All of them can be done when they're followed within these guidelines. And that's probably the smartest thing that they could have done, is come to you to have you design the diet, because that's my biggest beef with the vegetarian diet. Funny enough, I did not mean that, but that's my biggest thing with the vegetarian diet, is that I did it wrong. I'll be the first to admit it, right? I eat fucking noodles every day. Noodles, like pasta, every day. No wonder you were fat. No one, if you would have just, but you don't understand, like, adherence is a big part of diet, right? If you're not going to do it, why the fuck would you do it? Right? I only ate pizza, noodles, this, that, and like nothing good. Nothing good. I was a kid. Why would I want to eat good shit? Did you know that they do grilled cheese at McDonald's?
Yeah.
Like, you can go to McDonald's and get a grilled fucking cheese, right? And that's what I'm gonna do.
Only because of you.
Because of that post? Yeah. And like, dude, it's crazy.
I don't know. Like, I don't have an issue, obviously, with what somebody wants to diet. Like, but I do.
I
do think a lot of people need to research a little bit more and not get their information through like Instagram info posts, like people talking about like those I hate those kinds that are like, eat this, not that, eat this, not that, like those things.
Yeah.
But like, like when it comes to, I just feel like diets get a bad rap from social media because like you said, there's just one extreme or the other. Like, there's people that are like, you need carbs to the keto people. The keto people are, you don't need carbs. And it's like always constantly fighting. Like, there's always, and it's crazy to think about that. Like, there's in every industry, there's fighting like that between groups, like the carb people, the fat people. Then like go to lifting. There's people that are high volume, there's people that are low volume, and they'll fucking go at it all day about it.
They'll die on their flag for it. Yeah, they die right there for it. Yeah.
We could talk about every single industry. There's something like that.
Right. 100%. 100%. And that's just humans. That's humans, right? I finally got Audible downloaded
Yeah.
because I'm not the best reader. I comprehend better when people are talking to me. That's why the Joe Rogan podcast is ironically caught me a lot, because I pick up what these people have been fucking studying for years, and they're coming to willingly put it out there. I'm like, okay, yeah, let me listen to this shit, right? So, of course, I kind of forgot where I was going with that, but what were we talking about?
You're talking about Audible.
Okay, yeah. So the Homo sapiens book, right? I downloaded Audible, and it's allowed me to comprehend this book so much more. And the Sapiens by I definitely Johann Harvey, I believe. It's an amazing book, and it tears us down to the animals that we are. Right? It takes away the white, the black, the Republican, the Democrat. It takes all that away, and it only refers to us as Homo sapiens, right? And it makes you think of yourself as that animal again, and it kind of liberates you from, all these ideologies that exist now, and you kind of realize why we cope or go to those, and why we are drawn to join something like that, to be tribal, and it's because we're fucking tribal animals, right? We, regardless of what, how savage some people are, right? I don't need anybody. I don't need this, that, and the other, right? I'm independent. Man, being social in our animal genius is huge. Like, they think that that's why we are where we're at, right? Think about how many other mammals are born and expected to do what they're expected to do for the rest of their lives immediately, right? Like animals on the savannah, they better be running tonight, right? If they're not running tonight, then they're gonna get eaten. And humans, it takes us what, a year to start walking, right? 2 years. I don't know how long it takes baby to start walking, but like those social skills that we depend on our mothers for, they believe are what like brought us to this, like why we are so good together. Because if you think about getting a group of 150 or more of like monkeys or elephants or rhinos into a single room, right? 150 of them, it would be fucking chaos, right? But 150 people probably go to church every Sunday, right? 150 people go to the store, and before quarantine, they used to be pretty good with each other, right? But now it's a all-out brawl, or can be. But 150 or more people seems to be the dividing line of what took Homo sapiens like further. And the book is just fucking incredible.
Yeah, and then you talk about how ideology just separates all of us. It just eats up at that animal instinct that we all have, really. So at the end of the day, if you like it or not, we're an animal.
Right. Right.
People get insulted when they hear things like that. Like, well, why are you comparing us to animals? We're not an animal. But at the end of the day, yeah, we are. We are mammals. We've been lucky enough to evolve into what we've evolved to, but we're this much on the time scale here. Like,
it's crazy, dude.
Like, humans are within minutes of the entire time scale
of the existence. Yeah. If you bring it down to like what, like an hour, right? We're
seconds. Like that's crazy to think about. And then you have like all these ideologies that just want to tear each other apart. Like, look what's going on outside, dude. Like, that's crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Now, me and you have the same views on a lot of this stuff. Like, we believe that. I mean, I believe that, the black population is oppressed, and I see it with my own eyes on a daily basis. But, me and you stand behind them and stand with them on all that kind of stuff. But I feel like, they had the stage, they had the opportunity to now, make change happen. And then what happened? You got this ideology group that took their opportunity from them to make their agenda a thing now.
Right.
And, you know, it's hard to say what it was because look at kind of the protests that are going on right now. You know, like there's a lot of peaceful protests going on that are really behind the Black Lives Matters like movement and all those things. But there's all the rioting and stuff. Again, media trying to control you to show you everything that's horrible in the world. But I feel like they're not getting enough credit for all of the peaceful stuff that's going on. They're just showing all
doesn't sell. Stuff. Yeah, peace doesn't sell, right? No. What's cool? Who's gonna buy an ad spot when we're showing people kneeling with police officers, right? Nobody's gonna buy that ad spot. So, you know, somebody might buy that ad spot though when the reporter comes back, oh my God, they just tear gassed the crowd. They just tear gassed the crowd. Now the crowd's going crazy.
Mom and dad's sitting at home. That's the channel they're watching.
Yep.
Because it's as fucked up as it sounds. It's entertainment for some people because they're
100%
individuals.
What is 24-hour news? Why does 24-hour news exist? Why is there news 24 hours?
Yeah.
Right. If you when you think about it like that, you're like, is there fucking news 24 hours? And news is so easy to come by, right? They withhold it from you, right? Tune in at 11. Tune in at 11. Right after this, we'll bring you. Man, that's not news. News is yo, they're fucking like, you know, something's here, something's happening, right? That's fucking news.
Yeah.
Everything else is entertainment. Everything else is what can we spin this and put our own spin on it.
Have our own agenda too.
Yeah. Because
like dude, how much did they really truly report on what happened in Flint when the sheriff took off all his gear and said we're all gonna work with you guys? Like I saw it was prevalent. You saw it on Facebook, on YouTube, whatever. But I don't remember seeing that on CNN. I don't remember seeing it on any major news channel that most of the country is watching.
And you know how they would do it too? If it even made it there, and I don't watch that shit. I refuse.
I don't watch mainstream media.
No, I refuse to because I used to so much, right? I used to think that I was so like into politics, this and the other. But I if they would have made it there, right, it would have been like, they would have spun it with like some music and they would have been reporting on the riots and this, that, and the other. Oh, the rioting in Philadelphia is burning. And here's a picture of World War Z. Yeah, and then, but then they would switch to it, right, with like another sweeping camera view. It would come in and it would be like, in lighter news, today in Flint, cops were seen taking off their helmets and joining a solidarity. And then but when we come back, Philadelphia still burning, you know, and they would skim over it like that doesn't fucking matter because that doesn't sell.
Yeah,
and like you said, there's somebody else seemingly taking the positive movements like spotlight, and they're trying to like go, you know, here, what about this? What about this? And their way of doing it is from out of city people that don't even live in the city that they're protesting, right? Yeah. And then they're coming in specifically to vandalize and loot. And like the fuck the government anarchist in me is kind of like, right? Okay, I get you. But at the end of the day, like in Detroit police are pretty cool people. Like I know a lot of Detroit cops and they're cool as fuck.
Yeah.
So
Detroit cops.
To my own ignorance, I could be, you know, completely wrong, but I don't believe there's been like a wrongful death in Detroit protest like that. If it is in Detroit, it stemmed from somewhere else, and we're letting you know that Detroit stands with you, right? I can't remember one, you know, off the top of my head where a Detroit cop killed somebody like that, right? It seems like Detroit is so crazy day to day that like that shit.
Yeah.
You know, they're trained for that shit. They're trained to de-escalate that shit because you know you would almost never catch probably never catch Detroit cops kneeling on somebody for that long. AirPods. That's how I've been talking to you this whole time.
No, you're cutting out.
Oh shit. Okay. I don't. Where did I cut out at?
You're just talking about Detroit cops.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, they just. In my experience with them, they've always my experience with white male. They've always been fucking dope. So I don't know if Detroit tearing down Detroit was the answer like that.
Yeah. No, but I mean, dude, some of these things like we were talking about it yesterday, me and you. Like, dude, piles of bricks showing up out of nowhere.
That's nuts, right? What is that about?
Like there was a video I saw. I don't know. Maybe it was a coincidence. Like it could have literally been for construction. Like I don't know. But there was a video of guys just what is like these extremist groups. Their main outfit is all black, and they're always wearing masks. That's like classic Antifa wear. You know, you see them at protests all the time, and dude, these guys just like ripped open like a roadblock, and it was just a pile of bricks just sitting there.
Have you seen the one where the guy's wearing a gas mask, all black, and an umbrella, and he's smashing out AutoZone windows?
It was. I guess he ended up being he was a cop or something.
Yeah, that's the last time I saw it. I'm not sure if that ever got confirmed or anything, but the last time I saw that, yeah, that was what they said. He was a cop, which is crazy.
It's crazy, dude. Like, and then look, like back what we were talking about, like if we were just all animals, the way we were, like take us back to our roots. It's when the race doesn't have one common enemy, that's when they become enemies of themselves. If a group of Homo sapiens back in the day were cornered by lions, if this guy hated this guy, they didn't hate each other anymore. They hated this lion.
Right, 100%.
And I think that's like one big thing that divides a lot of people is because that doesn't exist anymore. We don't have that issue anymore. Like look at 9/11, dude. Like no matter what, the American spirit after 9/11, everyone was for everybody for a while. Like because that was the first true attack on US soil. Like and you just felt this patriotic vibe after 9/11 with every American.
Well, I was bullshitting with my roommate, right? And like how crazy is it that at the beginning of this, right? At the beginning of quarantine, the beginning of COVID, everybody was pretty much like, all right, this shit seems serious. Let's stay home, right? And then Tiger King comes out, and everybody's on Tiger King, right? And we're all kind of linked up. Fuck Carol Baskin, you know, Joe Exotic for president type shit, right? It's almost like they were scared, right? Like this is real conspiracy shit. This is completely like theory, bullshit, right? It's almost like they were scared, and they're like, how can we politicize this? They all seem to be getting along right now, and that's not good for us. How the fuck can we politicize this, right? God, don't ever wear a fucking mask. Matter of fact, if anybody tells you to, refuse it. That's how we'll do it, and then we'll always be wearing masks. And we'll, you know, it's almost they were so scared. It's like they were so scared that they needed to say something because we were all getting together for a second there. We're all
You're getting really quiet. I don't know. These might be low on battery.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay. I just took them out. Fuck it. That's greasy, man. I can't pick back up where I was. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Talking about face masks. Face masks.
Okay, so yeah, right. So I was saying like, it's almost like they had to politicize it, right? They were like, you don't wear a face mask, but we'll wear a face mask, and that's how we'll make it against each other. Because we were all just like, man, Tiger King.
right? We were all together. We were all unified. We were all like, hey, fuck it, wash your hands, wear gloves, wear a face mask, just kind of be nicer to people at the grocery store right now. You don't need that much toilet paper. We were kind of all on the same page, right? And it just kind of fucked up. And now we're back to, this side versus that side, whatever it may be.
Dude, number one thing, I saw the best post the other day. It said, notice how the media, when it shifted attention to the protest rioting and all that, you no longer even think about COVID anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that's how much media controls people. Like, when's the last COVID news you've watched? It's not even on our Facebook timelines anymore. It's not even on our Instagram anymore.
Right. Right. They kind of abandoned that. They've kind of abandoned that. They're like, again, what sells right now? Do I really give a fuck about COVID right now when there's these atrocities that they could be, talking about? Right. My attention is especially on the court of public opinion when you go down Facebook. That's all that's being talked about, right? All the black squares yesterday, which was nuts. But all anything, right? So if I turn on the news and I'm like, why are they talking about COVID? I want them to be talking about. I'm gonna flip the fucking channel, right? So it's about what sells. It's entertainment. It's 100% of it.
Like yesterday. What was it? Yesterday, we were talking about. Oh my God, I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about?
Me and you?
No, I forgot. No, I think it was me and my wife were talking about it yesterday. I can't remember now. But it's just like, the mass amount of people that came to these protests, like the sheer numbers of these people, I think it showed a lot of leaders that when push comes to shove, these people were gonna leave their house eventually.
Right.
Like, this was a big enough reason for them to leave and congregate the way they did, saying fuck social distancing. Like,
right.
This is way more important than social distancing right now. And I think a big reason why our stay-at-home got lifted was because of that. Because, dude, they broke their windows in Lansing.
Yeah.
Like, she probably was like, you know what? Maybe I should open some things because, if I open some stuff, maybe people will be busy and not protest as much. Because I was talking to somebody and I was like, I feel like it's a group of people. Like, you have this group of people right now that's protesting, rioting, looting, all these things going on. I said, I feel like you have three group of people. You have people that are actually trying to make a difference for Black lives. You have opportunists trying to cause rioting and looting, which are just taking from this group. And then you have people that were just fucking bored at home. They had nothing to do. They've been cooped up for a while. Maybe some of them lost their jobs and they're super angry about it and they just want to vent. Like,
I never even thought about that, to be honest with you.
Like, some of those people could be just simply like, they're just in such a tough spot in their life because of COVID that they said, I'm going to join this rioting, protesting stuff.
I mean, knowing even the slightest of human psychology, like, you can tell that could be a thing, and it's crazy to really think about, because at the end of the day, like, I just feel like it's not my place to say anything right now. Like, I feel like being the best human you could be right now is just supporting, asking your friends, like your personal friends, like, what can I do to help? Right? What's an organization that I might be able to be charitable to? Or, because I work all the time, so I would have to do some charity work, because, like, for me to go downtown and protest, like, I would have to leave right after this to go down there, and then I got something going on a little bit later, and I'd have to leave that to go to that, right? And just seems to me to make more sense right now to just shut the fuck up, help where I can, like backdoor type thing, you know, here, help. These are what seem to be helping people, and that's what I can do right now. So,
Yeah.
you know, because at the end of the day, I feel like it's not my fucking place right now. You know, this issue supersedes a white male's opinion. So I'm just trying to.
Yeah, like I made some public like posts about supporting everybody and you know
Right.
that but then I reached out to all the other I reached out to you know people that I was close to that are and just told them like you know like I'm here if you need
Well, yeah,
anything.
you're a good person. I would expect you to do that. You know, like it's these opportunists, right? It seems to be like just somebody wants to outdo somebody to show their support, right? Look how much I support.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. Look how much I support. I'm gonna do this. I got called out yesterday by a friend. He called me out because I liked a post from 2 years ago, and it was a Ben Shapiro and Joe Rogan um, interview, and he's like, "Explain this." And I'm like, I liked it. Like, you know, I don't know even why I would have to explain this. You know, I'm like 2 years ago I was a different person. That's all I can say. I don't know what mistake I made, but I still liked the conversation that they had. You know, and I don't think that calling out anybody right now is the way to change minds. Right? We need to have a conversation. There's enough people that believe that this is happening for it to be happening, regardless if it's happening or not. Right? The way human psychology works, if enough people believe that it's happening, it's happening.
Yeah.
Right? So we need to have that conversation. We need to sit down and be like, okay, what is your perception? What is happening so that we can put an end to that? You know, we need to put an end to anybody feeling not welcomed or not wanted or not helped.
Yeah. Like the whole like everything should have inclusion. Like I'm completely behind inclusion should be everywhere.
Right.
People shouldn't feel like they can't be somewhere or they can't do something. Like one of my friends posted like he's a black male and he was like when we walk into designer stores, they don't give a fuck who we are. Like things like that. Like why? Like if you're there because you can afford it and that's what you like. Like why
Even
are
if they didn't want to look at shit, I've gone in those designer stores to just look at shit. I ain't never gonna buy
something any different than you or me walking in that store?
Right. Yeah.
I think it shouldn't be.
No, absolutely.
So like I feel with that. Like and I've never dealt with anything like that.
No.
And like
and that's the conversation, right? It's like how can, and obviously not somebody who's never dealt with that in that sense or never perceived that, right? Because you and I don't need to have that conversation in that sense, but like to the people that run those stores, why do you see them that way, and what can we do to make you not see that way? Right. That's the conversation I think we should be having.
Now, do you think it has to do with like maybe the way somebody? I mean, obviously, it has to do with the way like maybe somebody was raised, but
right. Well, all of this stuff, right? All of this is just cut from our experiences, and then that's how we perceive the world, right? So like something has happened to make them feel that
somewhere down the line, something happened to do that.
Because that person was 5 years old at one time. That person had no ideology, had no views. All they wanted to do was play with blocks, right? What the fuck happened to get them to this, right? That's the conversation. Like, where can we find what happened and be like, oh, see, yeah, you were just treated poorly by a shitty person or something. And that's not everything.
Yeah, and I feel like some things like that could be fixed with just like a simple act of forgiveness, or like some people have grudges forever, like and they just feel a certain way to a person regardless of their race. If they just have a grudge against somebody, they just feel a certain way to that. But it's just simple, like a simple sorry or a simple conversation could fix all of that. Yeah, which is crazy to think about. Like the fact that this is even a conversation is crazy to think about. Like we're sitting here talking about this right now. Like, why?
Right. We should not be sitting here talking about this on the sense that it should not be happening.
Yeah,
And it's the biggest thing going right now. It's like that, you look back at today and like that's gonna be what happened.
like this is what we literally talked about in the end of May, early June of 2020. Like,
It's gonna be written in the history books.
oh, we were talking about it the other day. 2020 is probably going to be one of the most eventful years of our lives. Like, unless it's like a world war again, I don't think you're going to see something as much as we've seen already, and it hasn't even been 6 months.
Right. We're just walking into
like, dude, I'm itching for this year just to end. Like, can 2021 be here?
Right, yeah, man. Like everything has been so wild this year.
Dude, what happened in January? January was normal or no? I don't remember.
Was that the World War III? Wasn't that when World War III was about to go down?
With who?
We just expected World War III, right? Wasn't that what we were going on in January?
Oh, I don't know. When was the Australian fires?
That was like February.
Okay, so
you could fly there still.
Okay.
But I think January. I think Kim Jong Un and Trump were talking shit again or
something. Okay, so that's January. February, Australia.
Yeah.
Okay, March, COVID.
Yeah. April, COVID.
April was like COVID, but I'm so over it. Like,
right.
COVID. And then May is like what? Rioting gear. And then June, like I sent you that picture. Like,
that was hilarious.
And June is like a guy wearing V for Vendetta.
Yeah. That's what it seems like June is about to be.
That seems like what June is gonna be. So like I get mixed like things about this. Like, now Trump came out and talked about activating the some act that gives him power to put troops on the ground here, and a lot of people have an issue with it. Now, I don't know where. I mean, I understand the cause for concern there, but I also backtrack to what the government's main job is to do, and it's to protect its citizens. Now, where does that stand? Like, it's a very fine line to stand on. Like, are you okay with troops being in your neighborhood? Are you not okay with troops being in your neighborhood?
I don't want them there.
You don't want them there?
Hell no.
So if they were rioting,
I wouldn't want them because of what that would signify, right? It seems like we're at full-blown war if we have troops in our streets. Because when has a war ever been fought in America other than the Civil War? Right? You don't bring shit here. Like, so if that was the case, that would be freaky. I wouldn't like that.
It'd be freaky, dude. It'd be like Steven Tran lives in Grand Rapids. Dude, he's like 2 minutes away from downtown. He told me
Grand Rapids.
He told me when it was happening, he's like, dude, I couldn't sleep because I was so worried about somebody coming into my house. And he's like, all we heard was cop sirens all day, all night long. He goes, and then the National Guard showed up the next day. He goes, what a sight to see. Like, you got fucking Humvees pulling up into your city and troops jumping out of them.
That's so crazy.
But then how does this rioting stop?
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know. Yeah, that's way above my pay grade.
Like, how does it all stop? Do you let them vent it out? Do you stop them? Do you forcefully stop them?
Man, it's America. People will get bored of it. What are you talking about?
If
the media wanted to right now, they could end it. 100%.
They could stop reporting on it.
Yeah. If they stopped reporting on it, it wouldn't be the hot take. Nobody would be down there. Not nobody, but it would clear out the people. It would wean out the people that are doing it for attention. That's for sure.
Yeah. Like, did you see there was a girl on Instagram. She got out of her car just to take a selfie with a protester, and got back in her car.
Take it till you make it, brother.
Like, what?
I've seen some crazy shit from humans this past couple of months, man. It's hard. It's like I need the gym, right? Like I'm done talking about this shit. We're gonna get back to the gym, but I need the gym because that's the only thing that makes sense anymore, right? 200 pounds is 200 pounds. Flat bench is flat bench. Incline bench is incline bench, right? A set of 10 is a set of fucking 10. So like I need
those are our concrete values.
Yeah. I need that back in my life. Like I need that part of routine back.
Like the whole process of me getting ready to go to the gym, I feel like the day stops. And it's just like my escape for like 2 hours. Nothing in the world matters in those 2 hours. By the time I get home, life starts up again.
Yep.
And like, I don't know. I mean, hopefully after this, people realize like the importance of a gym, like, and how important it is for some people's mental health and things. Like, I feel like it's just so disregarded and thrown to the side right now because of what's going on. I mean, dude, some gyms are probably cleaner than some grocery stores. Like,
probably just because it's such a thought of thing. You know, they gotta be clean. You gotta keep clean. People were just laying on that. You gotta wipe down every surface, right? So yeah, I could see where that would be 100%.
Yeah, like, and I think like, I think we'll see gyms open up soon.
Yeah, fuck yeah, we better. But so to even further go into some other shit, that I don't think I told you Hussam and I want to start a podcast.
Yeah. I think I saw Hussam post something.
Yeah, so he posted. He was playing with the microphone. Yeah, there's been a shift for a lot of people since this started. A lot of people have started believing in themselves in a different way. They started putting more money in their own stock, and they've started doing stuff. And Hussam is definitely one of them. And he built that gym in his garage.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like crazy. Man, once he heard gyms were locked down, that day he came home with gym equipment. You know, he wasn't missing a beat, right? It just wasn't in his mental to happen. And we talked about an idea for a podcast, and we're gonna utilize that garage because like now he's pretty much powerlifting. Like he don't need anything else, right? He's got a platform, he's got a squat rack and a bench. He can do it all there, right? And he has some stuff for accessories. But what we're thinking about is like having somebody on like yourself, right? We would have you on and hit a push day with you or a chest day with you or an arm day with you, right?